Hello, Kat, and
Hi guys,
Hello,
how are y'all doing?
doing well.
doing very well.
Doing good.
Hey Ben, long time no chat. Okay, so we will get started in just a moment. We're just waiting on, I believe, Quiz and Ming, but they should be on their way. And then I was trying to figure out how to get the music to play again, but whoopsies.
Okay, quiz is in.
All right. Quiz, I'm going to invite you to speak. All right. And thank you for everyone who's joining us now. We are just going to wait one more minute for our last speaker, Ming, to come in, and then we'll begin the show.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Ming is here. Ming, I just invited you to speak, so go ahead and accept that. All right. We have everyone here. How you doing, Ming? Okay. Awesome. Cool. So we'll get started. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. I still see a few more people are logging in, but thank you for those who've showed up already. I'm your host, Kat. And, today, or this week, Metis Foundation, we've been focusing on our APAC-based EcoNode P1X, which is a Metis ecosystem accelerator and project incubator for the APAC region. P1X helps Web3 startups grow by means of incubation and investment, helping to adopt and develop quality GameFi, DeFi, and other blockchain products or projects, and with a focus on building multinational communities, specifically in Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines. So today we have from P1X, Andy Profit. He's the CEO, and we also have the DC of Planning at Metis Foundation, along with Ming Guo, Quiz, and Ben. Thank you guys for joining me. So starting with Natalia, since you're the only lady here aside from me, go ahead and introduce yourselves and let our listeners know why you're here today.
Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here today. I represent Metis Foundation in my current role of the DC Decentralized Coordinator of Planning. As you know, one of the roles of the foundation is to foster innovation across our system and grow our community globally. There are multiple ways how we're approaching it, of course, but one of the ways we drive innovation is through incubation of interesting ideas that, eventually grow and become products or platforms that can work cohesively together. And that's what keeps the Metis engine going. We call these projects econodes. The P1X is one of our econodes. And the idea is that the econodes, once they grow, they also create new products, new services, and thus contributing to the further expansion and growth of the Metis ecosystem. P1X is, as I said, it's one of our econodes focusing on Asian market, APAC market, and it's very important to us, and I'm super excited to be part of this developing story.
Awesome. Thanks, Natalia. And just as we're going into the flow, since we're talking about P1X, Andy, would you like to go next? Introduce yourself. Let us know why you're here today.
Sure. I'm Andy. I'm the CEO of P1X. I've actually was with the Metis team for over a year before I transitioned into this role. And some of the work I was doing anyway was being a liaison for the Metis team with some of our Asian partners and projects. And super excited to be here today.
Thanks, Andy. Let's also go into, let's go with Ming next. Ming, if you can, go ahead and unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello. Yes, I forgot to unmute. Yes, so my name is Ming Guo. I'm the chief scientist of Metis and 𝘔𝘐𝘚𝘐𝘐, and also now being a participant of the Ainur P1X project. And I work with excellent colleagues to promote a diverse application ecosystem for Metis and for the future of blockchain as well.
Perfect. And then we have Ben joining from the Ainur Twitter. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Ben.
Hey guys, my name is Ben Jones. I'm the CMO of P1X, and I also do comms for Ainur. Just excited to be here, just to share about the APAC region, the opportunities, the APAC opportunity here in the region, and also just our go-to-market projects like Ainur. So thank you for having us.
Of course. And then last we have Quiz. Quiz, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Quiz. I'm a co-founder of Ainur project. And I used to be the early investor of Ethereum. I used to be the early miners of Ethereum. We used to be like one of the top 10 miners on Ethereum back to before 2020, when Chinese government shut down the mining operation in China. Then later on, we migrated all our mining operations to the sub-Mekong River sub-regions, which is cover most of the Laos and Vietnam and Thailand area. And now we have because all the mining computing powers for Ethereum are they are obsolete. So we are joining Ainur project to explore the possibilities for the mining computing capacities which can support the AI and Web3 innovations. Thank you.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that you were one of the top 10 Ethereum miners before they shut down. That's crazy, but awesome. And that actually starts leading us off into our conversation. So right now we're this show is specifically geared towards the Asian Pacific region. Let's kind of all together go into an industry overview and kind of I'd like to hear from each of you kind of why you think there's such a major push for blockchain development in this region.
Maybe I'll start. I see that region as a very diverse region with expanding population, rising incomes, and we see a ton of activity going on there in the blockchain space. There is, it really has been emerging as a popular destination for projects, for crypto entrepreneurs, for investors, and I think it's a very promising space. And also the space where crypto adoption seems to be really taking off. So I think it's very important for us to be part of that growth.
I'll go next. I think along with what you said, you're seeing governments positioning themselves with a positive attitude and a healthy balance between acceptance and adoption and regulating. It's not a regulation first mentality, similar to what we're seeing in the West. So you're seeing that thrive a bit more. There's a lot of unbanked in Southeast Asia. I know as of at one point, this was 2021 statistics, so it's probably a little bit more, but they estimated in Indonesia alone there were 66 of the population that were unbanked. So there's been many initiatives with the banking sector reaching out via blockchain through the population. So I think that's also another core contributor to this.
What do you think is like causing all this, like everyone to kind of like debank?
I think part of it's just, the region. There's a lot of farmers in a lot of parts of Southeast Asia. I'm living here now. I live in a place where there's a lot of banks, but I remember, just 5 years ago, getting to a bank could be a chore. So that could be some of it. Just the way the population's distributed throughout the cities and whatnot.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I'm just gonna say really fast too. Yeah, like growing up, I didn't grow up in the Philippines, but my family is from the Philippines, and just like going to the bank took a 2-day trip to Manila. So it's like if you don't have we could barely even afford a pig to raise and eat eventually. So it's like to be able to finally afford to go over to Manila in a 2-day trip is almost unforeseeable.
Yes, and you also have a lot of migrant workers, and cross-border transactions can be tedious at times. So this helps solve that as well. So I think that's part of the reason why you're seeing a lot of the banks get involved on the Web3 side of things.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also think that, in South Asia, it's very favorable demographics. There's population is younger than in the Western countries. And, with the younger populations, they are much more well-versed with technology. They understand technology, and they're more open to try new things and to innovate different innovations. I think it's also kind of helps get people involved in the tech.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, Ming, or Quiz, anything to add?
Yeah,
I totally.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, just to echo what everybody was saying. But interesting enough, I just saw a infograph about population drops and the top nations in the world who are dropping in population are mostly the European Western nations and the Indonesia and Southeast Asia, and also just this region, the APAC. It's increasing, so it's like there's just a shift in just population. Like the amount of younger people here are increasing, where in other regions of the world they're decreasing. So that has also to do with the push, but also a lot of Vietnam, for instance.
Ben, I think that you're cutting out just a bit, unless if it's me.
Oh. Can you hear me? All right. So
I think it's you, Kat. I can hear fine. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can hear you, Ben.
Okay.
Yeah. For Vietnam in particular, the government has really revamped their educational process, where mostly computer engineering is really being pushed. This idea of blockchain technology as the future has really they've taken it to heart, and Thailand as well. Just they've made a real big push to make sure everyone in the nation has a bank, and just Indonesia and the Philippines. The Philippines, for instance, is just a high adoption rate. I think the view for the young people is this is where we're going, and this is where we need to put all education and our efforts in, and just a lot of untapped, echoing what Andy was saying, a lot of untapped population where they're unbanked. So there's just a lot of different aspects and different layers that are coming together globally from a global perspective, where this region is very optimistic, and even in a bear market, the adoption is just skyrocketing.
I totally agree. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I can do that. Yes. So, I think the narrative for crypto blockchain is to help the unbanked. Unfortunately, that's not happening as fast that we want. So the goal of Metis and all of our efforts should be enlarged to include other people. Beside on-bank, we also have the unpaid. Those are people who worked but not getting paid, because traditionally it's difficult to include them in a sort of like a normal economy. For example, like domestic work performed by women, and also intra-community work by volunteers. And there are also a lot of unaccounted work by, for example, interns, freelancers, and generally just artisans. They're not getting paid because the system just, discriminated them and not included them in the pay structure or the economic structure of the society. There's also unvalued, where people's activities are not considered like work. But these are actually involved some of the most fascinating aspect of what humans do. For example, innovation, creative work, work that haven't been monetized, virtual work, right? When you play in a game, does that count as work? For some people, they already do, right? Those we all know the click farms. Are these work, or are they are there space for people who doing their work inside a virtual economy? There are also spiritual work, emotional support. These are work, or meditation that also can help people, help loved ones, help community. Are these considered work, right? And these are unvalued. So I think crypto, blockchain, and like AI, these are the fascinating developments of technology that can be applied to the math. And I think this is probably the kind of space that the APAC region, or the global South, or the people who's in the developing economies can probably have a way to pull ahead, right? We all know the story that mobile phones actually jettisoned very underdeveloped regions to have a way to do business that for the past 100 years, the lack of infrastructure that wouldn't be able to enable them, but mobile phones enabled them to do these things. Promoting all these aspects, I think, is the goal for us.
Go ahead, Chris.
Totally. I really second what's Min's opinion. My perspective is there's saying in Silicon Valley that the innovation comes from the edges to the center. So where innovation really can happen and penetrate is the edges. For example, 10 years, 1 decade before, back in China, because I was based in China. So 10 years ago in China, Chinese society, they don't have solid credit card system and payment system. So when mobile internet comes, the trend comes. So because there's no traditional payment method Web 2.0 or traditional credit card payment method. So you can see now the Chinese mobile internet ecosystem is one of the most advantages and most penetrated system in the world. So I can compare to APAC region, especially the Asian countries, the mobile internet, and actually definitely they don't have the tech giants back in China or in Europe and in Western world. So I see great opportunities. That's why all the young people there back in Vietnam and Thailand, they are so enthusiastic about the Web3. So I believe that in the Asian region, that will be the growth house for the Web3 economy. Back in Vietnam, we can feel like everybody like understand how like USDT works, and they are doing like foreign trade with Chinese like supply chain with USDT to surpass the foreign currency control by the government. So I believe these are the sparks for the Web3 like economy taking off in Southeast Asia. And from the geopolitical perspective, like if you compare to United States and China, it's more like a centralized regime, or it's a centralized structure. But if you look into the Asian region, it's actually, you can see there's no superpower in the whole Asian region. You can feel that this region is more decentralized. As we like doing mining in the Mekong River sub-region, the way we deal with the government regulation is totally different with China, back in our like operations in the United States. So I think these flexibilities and possibilities are giving us the hope that maybe the Asian countries will be the leader in the Web3 economy in the world for the human society. And as to AI, that all of our like community and in our team, our friends, we don't believe in that the big tech giants they build AI to align to their like value system, their purpose. But we don't believe in that. We believe that the AI should be aligned with people. So we believe the AI, which can really benefit the human society and human race, must be done in a more decentralized manner. Maybe we can try this out. I believe the initiative will cooperate with P1X in the Asian region has great opportunities. That's all. What I have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, that's something that you were talking about, because the geopolitical standpoint from everything. Like, I remember, and I was only a child, so forgive me if I'm wrong, everybody, but growing up in Japan, like I noticed, and even in the Philippines, everything was heavily dependent economically on like the Western world, and like just the US's economy. Now we're seeing a major shift in that, and we're seeing this shift towards the APAC region. It's really interesting to be a part of and to watch happen before our eyes. Like, truly amazing.
Yeah, actually, it's my feeling is like the APAC region, especially the Asian region, will become because I used to be a security engineer several years ago. So in security, I am the 𝘝𝘐𝘐 engineer back several years ago. So in the cybersecurity space, we got something called DMZ, which is Defend Middle Zone. So now you can see the East and West, they are decoupling. And maybe someone said there will be a new Cold War in the future, but we don't know. But you can feel that the Asian region is becoming a DMZ for the whole Web3. So this is something I feel really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we can already feel like all the manufacturers in China that migrating into, because, the owner of these manufacturers, they are basically businessmen. They don't want to get involved into like politics or like the ideologies. So all of them, the smart businessmen, they are migrate to Vietnam, Thailand, or Malaysia. It's a big trend now in China.
Yeah, that's amazing. But let's kind of like carry this on into, so we went over a little bit of the overview of the APAC region. So Andy, I kind of want to focus on P1X before we move into like AI Mirror and everything that you guys like do and collaborate together. Andy, could you give us a little bit more information on like P1X, kind of like what really got it all started and kind of what the potential lies ahead?
Sure. As I mentioned before, I worked with the Metis team for a little over a year before transitioning into the P1X role. But it was really just an idea that started early on with some of the co-founders and some of the partners we work with throughout Asia. and seeing the need to push, have a heavier inflow of projects into the Metis ecosystem and specifically from that area. And so myself and then a couple of the investors we've worked with previously, we got together and formed P1X. And so currently, ideally we want to be an incubator for the Metis ecosystem. Not ideally, we will be. Currently, we have two projects that are coming down the pipeline. One is Ainur, which is an AI project that we'll get into in just a minute. And then the other is it's going to be a liquid staking protocol. It's still in the building phase. We'll release a bit more information probably in the next month or two on that, but we hope to deploy into the Metis ecosystem as soon as possible once that's ready. But in general, we want to be just, basically an ambassador for Metis in Asia. There's a lot of great things happening in Southeast Asia. I've spent most of my adult life in Asia. I moved to China when I was 23, and I've worked with VCs for the last 7 or 8 years and saw that switch of investment from Web 2 to Web 3. And so I just think it's a really good eco node to have, and I'm very positive of what's been happening so far with P1X, and then just in general the communities we've spoken with in Southeast Asia.
Awesome. And then also, like, Natalia, since our major focus for the foundation this week is P1X and the APAC region, what was your kind of standpoint in kind of being also a driving force as the Metis Foundation co-founder and then getting started on this P1X eco node? Tell us about the process and what it takes to become like the P1X.
Well, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, one of our focuses is really to drive innovation, right? And innovation globally, and not just in North America or Europe. So it's been only logical, based on everything that you heard today and what Andy was just talking about, that we need to have a strong presence in the APAC market. And we just decided to make it happen, and hence P1X. I think it's been well described. The benefits and the strategies and goals have been already well described by Andy and Ming in the previous remarks.
Perfect. Awesome. Cool. And then I kind of also just want to go into Ainur a little, I'm sorry, am I saying it right? Is it Ainur or Ainur?
Ainur.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Let us know, like, you guys kind of told us a little bit, but give us a little bit more detail. What kind of like started the idea for Ainur, and how did you guys start getting in contact with P1X? I know that, there's Ming, and then there's also Andy who helped you guys out, but tell us more about you guys selves.
Ben?
Yeah. So Ainur is one of our flagship projects, and the concept is about decentralizing the power for AI. So the problem with AI at the moment is escalating power usage, and then also the cost of running and buying these very expensive chips from the NVIDIA chips is unsustainable for like smaller projects or even startups. Like right now it's OpenAI, Stable Diffusion, and different bigger projects like that. Google, they have the resources to power these powerful AIs, and with Web3 thinking and blockchain a mindset, like some of the core developers decided that, we want to, and Quiz can even jump on this as well, but we want to bring, I think maybe it was in one of the meetings where Quiz was in there was a discussion that just brought up this idea that, you know what, we can utilize the miner computational power, because at this moment it's almost like the perfect moment to bring decentralization to computational power for AI. And because the miners, you know, when they're mining crypto right at the moment is not, it doesn't bring profit for them, so it costs them more to run these things. And so this is another opportunity to give a win-win situation to the miners, and also to new projects coming out that want to, new developers and teams that want to build AI projects. They maybe have an idea, but without the power to run these AI projects, it's almost impossible, because the capital involved is just too much. And so from that, the idea started to brew, and Ainur was born. And this is where Web3 AI combination really you're going to see some really cool stuff from Ainur. But on the base level, it's to provide democratized computational power to AI projects and devs. So I'm gonna Quiz, do you want to jump in on like that conversation, how it all started?
Okay, I can provide my perspective from like software engineer perspective. Let me put this. Back before 2010, I was a tech lead in SAP Labs. At that time, what I was working on was like the division of I'm working in is called the SAP Business Object, which used to be one of the biggest like business intelligence solution provider in the world. Back then in time when big data wasn't like very super popular, there's no such term like big data. So basically you can feel like what big data is doing is exactly the same what we are doing business intelligence. But the difference is if you're talking about business intelligence before 2010, maybe 2008, it's not like a solution for everyone. I believe our like clients are like Airbus, Mercedes, BMW, these like Fortune 100 companies and corporations. They are affordable to do this business intelligence, to analyzing their operation data, their supply chain data, CMS data, their ERP data, their sales data, and then consolidate all this data into the reports for the executives so they can make smart decisions, which give them huge advantages to the what we later called Fortune 5 million. So at that time, if you are like startup builder, if you are doing similar business to like all these Fortune 100 companies, you got no advantages, because you cannot afford these IBM servers. You cannot afford these Sun Microsystem servers. You cannot afford this Teradata, like super expensive databases, data warehouses, solutions. But later, when Google come to the market as an internet company, you can see what they do. They're using like consumer computers to making like a cluster of all these like low performance and low like availability clusters, and to make it into a huge, super capable and super stable mesh of computing. Then you got the Google, you got all this Web 2.0 movement, and all the internet companies having more capacities of analyzing data and data mining, and we can see the booming of the Web 2.0 and the mobile internet in the future. So we feel what we're facing now in current situation is what I can feel is exactly the same feeling when I work in SAP. You can see what OpenAI is doing, what Microsoft is doing, what Google is doing. They're cooperating with like big companies like NVIDIA, they raise the barrier too high. If you want to run a large language model now, if you don't have several several dozens of millions dollars, you cannot even run the model. So I think this is the leadership they want to take. They want to maintain their monopoly. They want to control the trend of all this Gen AI innovation trend. And what they want to do is, I think it's more current situation. It's more worried me than what we do when we're doing business intelligence for this Fortune 100 company. Because now, some people say Gen AI is a Gutenberg printing machine in the internet age. So what they want to, because if someone have already built a large model, there's a process in their model. It's they want to fine tune the alignments of the model, which is they put the value, the valuation, what they value and what their opinion in the model. So if for my nephew, which is 5 years old, just get to know how to use the computer, they learn everything from their big models. So I think in this way, apparently this young generation will adopt their alignment, their value, and their ideology. And this is super scary. It's even worse than SAP or even worse than Oracle back in 1 decade, 2 decades ago. So what we want to take is a new leadership. We want to doing something was Google used to be back in 2010. We believe all this quote unquote low performance mining rigs and the graphic cards, they can also be optimized and they can be organized in some smart ways, which is not told by all these big tech giants. And we can do our own Gen AI innovations. We can train our own big models. We can do it in an open source way, just like Linux, just like the Linux, Apache, MyCircle, and the Nginx stack for the AI age. So this is what we want to do. And we feel if we look into the open source community, which is the only open source project, the first open source project have a business model is Bitcoin. So Web3 and AI, we believe is coherently and it's naturally it's going to happen in this way. And we believe with this, all the geniuses in the Web3 community and all the geniuses like George Hotz in the open source community who are way much better than the big tech giants. We believe, personally, I believe we will finally win this comeback. We will take the real leadership. That's my perspective. So Ainur is, we see all this trend, and we used to, as my team, we used to manage hundreds of thousands, millions of graphic cards for Ethereum mining. We got the basic skills and basic capacities to organize all this computing power. And we believe if all geniuses like George Hotz, we can join together and take the leadership. We can lead the AI innovation for the people, not for the maybe the AI for the mainstream instead of the Wall Street. Right. This is what we say the Web3 development.
I'll add to that as well. I think one of the reasons P1X was interested in this project, as he mentioned, we feel this is the Bitcoin moment for AI.
Yeah,
if you're
totally.
If you're ever on crypto Twitter, you read all about the AI post and all the concerns about AI being biased or whatnot. This will be a DAO-driven Gen AI, so the whole process will be essentially like the blockchain. It'll be transparent, equitable, and decentralized, and that will keep the big money. The big money is always going to do their thing. We see that now, but this will make it more affordable for the everyday person who's looking to get involved with AI and to build on AI. So that's one of the exciting things, I think. Just to echo what Quiz says, I really am excited about it, and I think it is the Bitcoin moment for AI.
Yeah, let me
Totally.
mhm. Let me add the why we created Noor. So this project is actually try to blend Web3 with AI, but from a different angle. So blockchain, crypto, they're always for little guys, right? So we want this to be for the rest of us, right? For the people that's underprivileged, which is most of the population of the world. We don't want this to be controlled by these megacorps, mega tech that just have the resources, right? That's they're talking about the danger of AI, of AGI. Yeah, but the danger is it's controlled by a small group of people, right? That just has the money, has the all the resources. That's the danger, not the technology itself. So a little bit about the background of Noor. So we're in the APAC. This is the kind of region that has over a large percentage of people. It's very populated and underdeveloped, but vibrant, has a vibrant economy. It seems to be the place that's very far from high technology, for example, like AI. But we think it's the opposite. It's the same spirit as blockchain and crypto. AI should be the same. So that's a very kind of unique perspective of us. A little bit of language anecdote. So Ainur is a popular name in Middle East, in this kind of cradle of the human civilization. The first city, first human city, from archaeological point of view, is called Noor. It's called just Ur, right? U-R. And the AI knew Ur. That's the kind of etymology origin of Noor. And it's a popular name in the region. So this is what we are and what we do. We live and also breathe with people on the edge. We're far from the center of the empire. We're the ones to topple the empire. The same as like Web3, blockchain, crypto, always wanted to. Now we have AI. So this is what will pull the rest of us ahead. So this is a movement. You can think of it as a continuous revolt, continuous revolution. The same spirit of Bitcoin, of blockchain and crypto. Yes, so join us.
That's quite beautiful, Ming. Thank you for adding that. There's something that Andy said. It was a DAO-driven AI. I'm kind of like wondering where is the kind of I can't think of the right word, but where does the interaction between AI and the humans behind the DAO, where do they meet?
Let me give a first jab, and Chris, Andy, and you can all answer this from your perspective. So DAO is actually the very foundational idea that Metis and we try to build our whole idea on. Of course, we call it differently. We call it DAC. So you can see that in my handle. DAC stands for Decentralized Autonomous Community. So C is an interesting letter. It can represent, originally, it actually represents a corporation. That's actually against the spirit of DAO. Or it stands for a company, which is a natural kind of way that people do business, right? From Middle Ages, the company has been born like from the Roman era. So that's kind of neutral. But the most recent innovation is the corporation. Corporation is powerful. It's dangerous. It's, corporations are not good. What about community? So decentralized autonomous community should be the future of the cell of a human society. Because you can't, although we're saying that decentralization, but no one can survive or exist on your own, right? Humans always work together, right? That's how we built our first civilization. So to build any economic structure, we think DAC, decentralized autonomous community, community are the first. And the way to, promote the welfare of the whole race, the human race, you need a economic structure. And the fundamental economic structure is decentralized autonomous community. So you build on community, but not in a centralized way. So you need mechanisms, you need the machinery to help these kind of economy. We all see like crypto and blockchain, but those are for regulation, right? What about the generation? So AI is the generation part. So for any economy to work, you need a demand side, you need a supply side. So think of AI as the demand side, right? It generates human desire, human ingenuity, human creation. That's the demand side. And blockchain, you can think of them as the supply side that will provide the structure, provide the economic medium for it to work. Actually, it's mutual, right? It can be, it's complicated. It can be both. But this is how the cycles of economy work in a decentralized society. And the basic unit should not be corporation, because in corporation, human and corporation are not equal. But in a in a more equal, inclusive society, community should be the base unit, and it should be decentralized. That's why AI, crypto, blockchain, they're all related, because they're all vital part of an economy. Yeah, okay, that's my answer.
Okay, awesome, thank you. So so it's all like a system of checks and balances based on the blockchain, right?
Yeah, and AI is also part of it.
Awesome.
A natural part of it, yes.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit on that, just to piggyback off of what Ming was mentioning. It's when you talk about a DAO-based Gen AI, it's really about ownership and in who owns what. And so the people and their data is what drives economy. You can see it in Google, you can see it Facebook, all of these big Web2 giants. Their TVL goes up based on how much data they own, and it's the way the economy works. But with DAO-based Gen AI, like Ming was mentioning, generative AI, you're generating content, you're generating data, and we want at Ainur the people to own it. So it's not just about power, but it's about ownership, that they own the data that they create. DAOs are essentially communities that buy into a structure where they vote, they own the data, they can create the data, but it's more, it's a decentralized model. So this is where Web3 really comes into play. And just following off of Metis's example, just from the DAO, Metis becoming a DAO and the DAC economy, we are applying that directly into the AI structure as well, so that communities can create, they can produce content, they can utilize their AI in their model, and they own it as well. And this will also, just with the DeFi side of it as well, they can also receive compensation from the content and the data that is created by them.
Yeah, I want to add, I believe the spirit and the vibe for the cryptocurrency, as my Twitter name, I think the whole Web3 and Twitter, cryptocurrency space, they are running in a Hayek's economy style, which is like a market is a driven force. But what now, the big tech giants, what they do is they raise the barrier. Only they can build the AI. So what I believe in the future is, as Ainur will provide the infrastructures and the basic game theories for how people can cooperate and build their own models. I think in the future they will be just like a cryptocurrency, because now we only have OpenAI and maybe Google's big model. But if Ainur is finally providing all these accessible infrastructures, all the communities can build their own big models, small models, which just like cryptocurrencies. We have tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies that are competing with each other, solving their own problems. They have their own users. I believe in the future in the AI space, it's the same. There's not only just OpenAI ChatGPT. There will be millions of ChatGPT that people will choose. They will optimize according to their own alignment. This is my perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And then going into all this AI and the DAO AI and everything, Ainur has, I believe it's called the Tiny DAO. And through Tiny DAO, there's also the product Tiny Brood, which goes into 𝘔𝘐𝘚𝘐𝘐. Quiz or Ben, could you give us a little bit more information about kind of how this is all structured within Ainur?
Yeah, Tiny Brood is the kind of the ethos that we live by. We are also we are part of a bigger community that is pushing for decentralized AI. One of we mentioned earlier, George Holtz, that has started Tiny Grad, and his concept is everybody has their own AI, everybody has their little tiny box which he's building, and everyone can create their own AI. It's it's not the big computational power that the Googles and different other companies that use, but it's your own, and that's where Tiny Brood comes in, is where we are. It's an ethos that we live by, that this is power to the people, not just metaphorically but literally, that they have the structural power, they have the computational power, they have the ownership, and it's theirs, and we're part of a DAO network. There's we can create, and like Quiz was mentioning, that in the future that every community has their own AI for their own purposes and their own initiatives that they want to have, and that this is all part of a beautiful network that we are believing for, and we're standing by. And so this is just kind of these are guiding principles that we are standing on and we're building upon, and that every decision that we make is for the people, for the APAC region specifically, and also just to promote decentralization in AI technology, and for just the development of the future for this region. Quiz, you want to talk about Tiny DAO?
Yeah, I think Tiny DAO is only the first DAO. We want to make the decentralized AI happening and combine with all these Web3 infrastructures. And we want to have this initiative. We want to gather a lot of all this bunch of talents from Web3 community and the open source AI community. and we can work together and build a solid like infrastructure and control the waste like 𝘝𝘐𝘐𝘐𝘐 doing TinyGraph. And also there are a lot of other initiatives from the academy background or from the hacker background. We can work together. We can build the solid soil for the centralized, open, really open AI, not the quote-unquote open AI happening in the future. I think that's the first initiative and ideas we have. If I'm correcting me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So maybe because there's 𝘶𝘶𝘶 and Ainur and lazy AI, I think it's kind of like people were often confused by all this like terminologies and trends. So yesterday I was talking with Ming and with Andy. So actually this is something like in a time theory manner. So it happens with time. So we have this idea to build TinyDAO. TinyDAO is just like a community, and all the value and manifold factors we provide. And we want to kick off this initiative and include people to join our movement. And then we realize we want to make this movement really happen. So we have to need something to like build something, not just call for something. So Ainur is like the project. We are also like working on it for 12 build. So we want to build a solid AI, decentralized AI infrastructure. People who want to build a decentralized AI based on our infrastructure. It compromise all the comprise of all the like Web3 technologies, include blockchain. Also like decentralized storage, decentralized compute power. So we can turn this into like a huge like a supercomputer for AI in a decentralized manner. This is basically the ideas of Ainur. And we can put the Web3 economy, like incentives and economy system into it, that people who have the resources like the power devices or they have the valuable data, they can contribute in constructing the decentralized AI models. So this is Ainur. Then we realize maybe this Ainur project need time we have to like iterate, we have to try and fail. Maybe before it's ready, it takes maybe some time. But we already have all these like mining rigs, we have these networks, we have these storage spaces from the Ethereum miners, from the Filecoin miners. So why not we just because already there are a lot of like open source developers who want to build, they want to play around with these open source models. Why not we we can directly provide this computing like hardware like resources for them. So this is TinyBrood. TinyBrood is only an initiative. We will call it the incubation program. So we can, because we are in the TinyDAO community, there are a bunch of like top miners. They own a lot of like hardware and computing resources. So we can ask them to provide some of these computing powers in a centralized way. And then if people want to join TinyDAO to build this, to facilitate this decentralized AI movement, we can provide these resources for them, and they can trial and fail. So we can together figure out how to make the Ainur objective like finally happen. So this is TinyBrood. So people who's interested in building open source or decentralized AI projects, they can come to us. We can provide the free hardware for them. So this is TinyBrood. And then lazy AI is like if we're kicking off the initiative, so why won't be our own like example? So we eat our own dog shit, right? So we are, because among our team, we already have, because I was building a security startup, we have a bunch of AI engineers. So we can build like AI applications ourselves. So why don't we built AI application by ourselves on tiny brute infrastructure in a tiny DAO like value system. And we make our own example. So this is 𝘲𝘲 AI. 𝘲𝘲 AI is like we have a bunch of developers. So we build we make example for others. Like this is actually feasible and it works. It works perfectly. It works interestingly. Like we built this decentralized AI application on our decentralized currently not, maybe it's not that decentralized at the current stage, but at least it's not like NVIDIA's supercomputer, but it runs on our mining powers. It happens. So we make an example. We want to show them that this is actually workable, and with geniuses and talents from all these open source and Web3 developers, we can actually make it happen. So this is the 𝘲𝘲 project. 𝘲𝘲 project is we make our own example on tiny brute hardware with a value of tiny DAO, and maybe in the future we'll use the Ainur's decentralized infrastructure as well. I'm not sure this is making a little bit clear.
Let me share. Let me share some of the thought behind these Ainur ideas. I think Ben just mentioned Andy as well. The Bitcoin moment. So remember when Bitcoin, Satoshi first created Bitcoin, he had something like one CPU, one vote, right? That is really important for new kind of economy. The decentralization relies not on the computation that everybody contributes to solve a puzzle. It relies on every person, every individual have that compute power on their own to contribute. That's important because from an internet point of view, all other nodes are sitting on the other side. You don't know if it's from there's 1,000 nodes out there. You don't know if it's from a data center or if each one of those nodes have a person behind it. So that's really important. And I think the tragedy is that the compute power is centralized. You can say otherwise. You can say, the pools are still controlled by individual miner, but actually it's not, because when you have that's how back in the early days of the corporation, you have this trust and it's cartels. They don't own everyone, every entity, right? They just they can just control them. So that's just a fact. For that reason, I think Bitcoin's kind of torch needs to be passed down to a new generation of miners. That's what Quiz is talking about. So this is what is important, is that this compute power for AI has to be owned by the people, by the individuals. That's why it's important to have a petaflop compute power for each individual. So this is the whole idea. It is not just to make them cheap, because eventually the big corporations will make them cheap. One day your mobile phone will be able to run LLM. So that's not the end goal. That won't liberate you from the control of the mega corps, right? What enables you is a mechanism that will enable individuals to have that kind of peta or even more compute power. So that's the whole point. That's why we combine AI with blockchain. That's why we call it a Bitcoin moment. It's actually probably the only Bitcoin moment that's ever going to be, because I think Bitcoin kind of lost it. But we're going to carry the torch on. Yeah, that's I want to add.
Awesome. And then through Tiny Brood, you can receive the open source resources in order to start like testing with AI and kind of fiddling around with everything. And then through TinyDAO is where you kind of get more into the processes. And then with 𝘔𝘐𝘗𝘗, quiz, I believe that we were talking about kind of like giving out some bots to people through. Could you give a little bit more information about how the process of that works, like signing up for a bot and receiving it?
Yeah, currently we have a AI chat bot that is in beta at the moment, but essentially at the moment we are the Midjourney version that is actually our vertical model is actually better than Midjourney in many ways, but it's text to image creation, and so we are utilizing that as kind of like a sandbox where this is a opportunity to create text to image creation in your community. And so the chatbot right now we are in the middle of talking to some close communities that we are slowly rolling it out to. But yeah, this is something that we are very interested in, just building a network, using our chatbot as an intro and also just an inspiration for different communities that all of the imagery that you're creating, all of the different prompts that you're putting in, how you're training the bot is essentially yours. And this is something that has never been done, where your AI has been given to different communities, and the ownership and the DAO mentality, tiny DAO mentality, is being spread. So we're also using the chatbot to spread our message that we want power to the people, and it's not like Ming was mentioning. The end goal is not like cheap power. The end goal is that the community, the people, the people own what they make, and they also can create and build freely, and that there is checks and balances and governance where these values and these principles are not usurped by those who may want to control the communities and things of that sort. So yeah, we're open. Any community that would want to use this bot, just let us know, and yeah, we'll connect with you later.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, I'm actually I'll comment here in this chat the link to the Telegram chat for anyone who wants to kind of give this a go. I just gotta copy and paste and do everything in there. But yeah, let me get to it really fast. So everyone who's listening, go ahead and check out. I'm commenting it now. Sorry. All right, so if you check it out, there's a link to a Telegram group, and Quiz and Ming and I will be in there. It's sending now. But go ahead and check out the link if you want to start testing around, see what you can do in your communities with the AI bot. It's pretty cool. I can't wait to check it out myself. And then, awesome, cool. So, Quiz, I believe you'll be the main person that will be talking to everyone in this chat.
Yeah, there'll be a few of us there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. Everyone go check that out. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and request to speak. We'll leave 5 minutes open for open mic. And then also for everyone who's here, if you'd like to receive your badge, your engagement badge through Nuvo, go ahead and take a screenshot of this Twitter space and DM it to me, and we'll make sure that you get your badge in there as well. All right. And then I'm seeing no one has any questions. I believe that Ming, you answered the question from Rebecca in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Go ahead and check out P1X. Give them a good follow on Twitter. I believe your guys' website is p1xlabs.io. Is that correct, Andy?
.com.
P1xlabs.com, yep.
All right. Sorry for the mistake. You never know between the io.com and XYZ anymore.
Sure.
And then
yeah, and also check Ainur out at ainur.ai. Yeah, check us out, guys. And just jump into the community and we'll guide you through it.
Right, and also for those of you that interested in DAC economy, which is my handle, just follow my Twitter, and you will find the white paper manifesto. Interesting. If you're interested in that, because that's an integral part to build AI into a new kind of economy. So we call it a generative economy. That's a term coined before generative AI became popular. So just check out there.
awesome.
Yeah, for developers who want to build like similar decentralized AI applications like Llama AI, who need the hardware, like compute hardware they want to use to travel and build with their ideas. Please, you can come to talk to us, and we have tiny booth. We can support all this support for you. We have huge bunch of top niche consumer GPUs. We have top notch AMD Gen 4, Gen 3, then CPUs. We have huge bunch of like storage systems. And if you're interested, come to talk to us. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. Natalia, Andy, Ben, Ming, and Quiz. I appreciate you guys, and thank you for all the listeners for giving us a good audience to talk to today. Appreciate you all.
Thank you, guys.
So much.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Thanks,
All right.
Thank
everybody.
you, Kat. Thank you, Kat.
Of course. Have a lovely one, guys.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.